Welcome to round 2 of this semester's admissions panel. I'm Alex Nelson, the social media coordinator for the admissions department here at Columbia College Chicago. Today, we'll be talking to 6 current Columbia students about their time here, and they'll be answering your questions. So let me quickly introduce them. Rebecca Soto, Natalie Tolan, Deborah Hall, Haley Nauraki, Dylan Kennedy, and Austin McGrath, as well as our wonderful American Sign Language translator, Josh Ayub. Now, let's get this started. To kick this off, I'm going to have our panelists reintroduce themselves and tell you a tiny bit of information about their lives here at Columbia. Dylan, can you please get us started?
Definitely. I'm Dylan Kennedy. I'm a junior here at Columbia studying music business management, minoring in marketing. I currently work on campus at the Student Communications Office, and that's a little bit about me.
I'm Austin McGrath. I'm an Urban Cultural Studies senior, and I was one of the organizers for the Columbia College Chicago Feminist Film Festival.
Hi, I'm Deborah Hall. I'm currently majoring in musical theater. I also work on campus, 916 building, student communications.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Soto. I am an illustration BA senior. I am the president of the illustration student group, and I've been working at the Columbia College Music Center for 4 years now.
Hi, I'm Natalie Toland. I am a senior comedy writing and performance major with a minor in management, and I have been working at the Tour Center since my freshman year. I'm a tour guide.
I'm Haley Nauraki. I'm a senior in advertising art direction with a minor in biology. I work 2 jobs, one on campus and one off. On campus, I work at the fabrication facility for the design department. Off campus, I work at the Museum of Science and Industry.
Oh, nice. Very cool. All right, to kick this off in a little bit more depth, I'm going to start with a question that all of our panelists can answer. I'll go in reverse order, so starting with Haley. What made you decide to attend Columbia College Chicago?
Columbia is one of the few colleges across the country that offers advertising art direction specifically as a major. So it was my first choice since it was closest to home for me.
At the time, comedy writing and performance was the only major in the country was actually here. So when I was applying, I was like, well, this is kind of my thing. But I also was looking at a bunch of big cities, and I decided on Chicago because it kind of felt like a diet New York City, and it was like a good scene, obviously, for comedy. So it's kind of where I got.
I have grown up around Chicago, so this is a place where I've been to my whole life, and I've always seen myself studying here. I love that the Columbia has such a diverse and large campus, and I thought that it would be awesome to immerse myself in that kind of creative community, seeing that I think that it's a city with a lot of potential, and studying here would bring a lot of great opportunities.
Well, with me, mine is not that deep. My family and friends have attended Columbia College, and I heard so many great things, especially the opportunities downtown area. So I just knew it was an art school, and I thought that Columbia will fit me perfectly, so that's why.
Yeah. My experience was a little bit different. I'm actually a transfer student. I transferred here my sophomore year, and the school that I had gone to was in the suburbs. I'm originally from a really small town in Wisconsin, under 2,000 people, hence why I came to the city. But I started in the suburbs. It was a little bit too small-minded, and it wasn't quite as open to critical thought and all the multitude of artistic directions that we have here, so that's why I chose to transfer here instead.
And I chose Columbia because I'm very passionate about music, and I wanted to pursue the business side of things. And music business at the time was one of the few majors offered here and around the country, and this was the best price and the best location, especially after doing the high school enrichment program here.
Cool. Thank you very much. So current or prospective and admitted students right now are looking a lot at our residence centers and trying to figure out the living situation that works best for them. So if I could have you folks speak to what your living situation was like, especially as a freshman, but if you have any relevant information to add as you've moved through your years at Columbia, we'd love to hear it. I don't know if anybody feels particularly passionately and sort of wants to kick this off. Natalie, you're looking at me.
Well, this is my job. I talk about the residence life all the time, but I lived in 2 of the 4 housing facilities on campus. I lived in the University Center my freshman year, and then I moved to the Dwight my sophomore year, and then moved off campus. But I think that that's like almost the perfect way to do it, at least in my like experience, because I wasn't quite ready to be in my own apartment yet as a freshman, and I kind of wanted a meal plan. I wasn't even totally ready for like the apartment dorm life. So I like went to the university center, did that little baby step there, got my little dorm, and then I had the cafeteria in the building. And then sophomore year I was like, oh, I'll do the other step. I'll like have an apartment, but it'll still be like within like the confines of like a dorm, so it's still kind of like secure in that sense. And then by junior year I was like, I'm ready to like live off campus. I think the only thing that I would say about it though is that if you're thinking about like moving off campus like early on, you have to think about all the different situations, like having to live farther off campus so you don't really get to know as many people, or I don't know, it's just more difficult to commute into the city, to figure that out earlier on. And then also dealing with like a real landlord and utilities and all of that stuff is kind of like jarring if you're not ready for it yet. But again, it's like everybody's journey, so that's my experience.
And then I can go off what she said. I've lived off campus since freshman year, and I just seeing a lot of friends, just interactions. You can see that many people staying on campus just get a lot of connections, make a lot of friendships in those first 2 years. So even if you want to be off campus, I think it's beneficial staying at least for a little bit.
I moved off campus junior year, and the first 2 years I still am friends with all of those same people, and I haven't really made new friends since then, so I agree with that completely. Those first 2 years, it was really good to be on campus to make those connections.
Yeah, I lived in the University Center my freshman year, and I thought that that was a really great experience, although I moved out the next year immediately, just because I knew that living in the dorms for another year wasn't for me. But I definitely think that it's a really positive experience to kind of get used to the city, especially if you're not from Chicago or from an urban environment. And it also does cultivate like this immediate community where you learn how to live with different people that aren't your family members and how to navigate the city more independently. But I think that living off campus for me was a really great economical option. My rent is a lot cheaper than paying for maybe a dorm, because of my financial aid, and I know that for some students that is a better option. But I think that you also have to weigh in the different factors, like we talked about, like with rent and with dealing with commuting over the summer, et cetera. So I took a more independent move right away, but I think that living on campus is a great option if you have it.
Yeah, well, with me, I'm a junior now, and I've been commuting since freshman year. And I know, and I feel like it depends on your major. If you're a musical theater major, I would definitely like recommend any student to like stay on campus, especially having rehearsals late at night and trying to commute from the suburbs, from the city to the suburbs. It can be really stressful, and also trying to finish work. So I've been doing it since freshman year. It's a struggle, but it's been, I say it have its pros and cons. So I feel that student that's coming in, I would definitely recommend you to stay on campus because that's the easiest thing for a student to do. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like as somebody who was new to the city, like when I moved here, I stayed in the Dwight my freshman year. And the location, I think, was what was key. Being so close to campus, especially if you ever take a 9 a.m. course, living on campus is key. I'm taking a 9 a.m. this semester, and it's a struggle to do the morning commute with everybody else who's going downtown for work and stuff like that. So the location, I think, is key, for your education as well. So.
So we have folks that are asking about off-campus job opportunities that are related to their work. Specifically, we've had questions regarding comedy studies and musical theater, so if those folks want to start us off, but I think everybody can speak to finding opportunities in Chicago that are relevant to your academic interests.
Well, the comedy scene is thriving, so there's always opportunity to go and explore all the different theaters. Like, I'm sure everyone knows the big ones like Second City and I.O., but there's a lot of other smaller theaters that a lot of students get at least an internship at. So I know people that worked at I.O., The Annoyance, The Playground, the Comedy Bar. There's quite a few different options, and those sometimes turn into jobs just depending on what happens. But either way, you're still getting like a lot of really good experience. I had a social media marketing internship at Comedy Sports Chicago. I know it's not like a job, but it definitely gave me a lot of experience in not only like the comedy world, but I also got to do a little bit of my minor in that with marketing. So it just depends. But there's opportunities all the time. They come up all the time. You just have to be on the lookout for them, honestly, and connect with your students and the professors on campus because they can hook you up all the time.
For musical theater, sophomore year, I actually went on Handshake for Columbia, right? It's Handshake. And I got a front desk job, and I feel that was the most flexible job because freshman year I was working downtown at the Water Tower at Forever 21, and sometimes working at a retail store is very hard because you never know what hours you'll get and you don't know how long you'll be there. So you might end up having to close. So working at Columbia is easier because you can go anytime you want and leave when you want, but just let your boss know because we work at the same office area. So we work Monday through Friday. There are also for musical theater you can also intern at Goodman Theater, the Cadillac Theater. So it's a lot of opportunities for musical theater majors to look for. I think that's it. You have restaurants, you have like Pete's, you can also apply it to, you have Trader Joe's right across the street from Columbia. So it's a lot of, little jobs that you can look out for.
Speaking on that flexibility that an on-campus job can bring you, I think it's really awesome to have that because they are very accommodating of your schedule and your life outside of work and maybe the projects you want to pursue that have to do with your major. I know at the Music Center, my schedule is really flexible. That allows me to kind of take up gigs doing live portrait drawings, having my art shows or vending events around the city. And I feel really lucky that having a job like that lets me pursue different creative and artistic opportunities outside of that.
I completely agree. Working on campus has been great for me, especially when other opportunities have come along. Just last semester, I went to the Career Center, which gives amazing opportunities. I met with Tom Joyce in the music and business entrepreneurship side of things. And just from Columbia alumni, I got an internship with WGN Radio, working in the media and sales department, and it was great. So there's always a lot of opportunities, especially from Columbia.
All right, so with that, we can move into, you guys have touched on this a little bit. Austin, if you don't mind jumping in, because I know you also have an off-campus job, and speaking to actually managing that balance of working and studying. Now, the person that asked was speaking specifically to working full-time. If anybody can speak to that, that's great, but if not, just in sort of more emphasis on balancing work and academics.
That's actually why I didn't comment on the last one, is that I did not have flexibility, which is definitely something that you sort of just have to grapple with and kind of evolve as you experience it. How am I going to manage my full-time classwork on top of my full-time job? And then this semester I'm also interning with the Feminist Film Festival as well. So balancing all of those things has been difficult, especially because, as you guys were kind of talking about with on-campus jobs, there is an understanding of scheduling, where with retail, you never know what's going to happen. One of the managers above me, I'm a supervisor at an optical in Lincoln Park, and he's leaving now. And so that means that I now have to step up. And so in a couple weeks, I'll be working 40 hours on top of everything else. So it's really making sure that you if you're going to work full-time, that you have that conversation with your boss about what days you need off.
Exactly.
So not just for classes. I don't have any classes on Sundays, but I said I absolutely cannot work Sundays, and that's the day I get all of the work for my online courses done. So just kind of thinking ahead and planning that conversation before you even apply for a job. Think about what you're going to need to make that work.
Right.
I also think that, I don't know if this was your experience or anybody else's that's been working full-time, doing that later on in your career here at Columbia, because that's when you've kind of gotten to the feel for things and you're like, oh, okay, now I can maybe add something else onto it. I was working 35 hours a week, 2 different jobs this semester. I just left my off-campus job because I want to finish out my senior year calmly. But I can definitely say that I was handling it fine because I've been here for a while. I know how things work. I was able to like manipulate my schedule so it was like fine. But freshman year, I don't think I would have been able to handle that. So it really just depends on like your ability, like, and to like do that kind of stuff. Now, I would definitely say wait a little bit though to do full-time work. Just because you're in school full-time and like that's a lot.
Especially being a freshman, I would just say do part-time, because being a freshman, you're trying to get your feet wet. You're trying to figure your way into the city. If you're not from Chicago, it's gonna be totally like you're gonna be lost. So part-time is the best thing, and then you're gonna be like meeting new friends. Just sightseeing, that's gonna take your mind away by itself.
Joining clubs.
Yeah, joining
stuff.
clubs if you have the time to,
Yeah.
because each major is different.
True.
So I would just say part-time is the best for freshman year. Then when you find what you can do, like if you want to challenge yourself more, like, oh, I can do 30 hours, then do it, try for it. But communication is the key. Talk to your boss. Don't just come in and come out, because you don't want to get fired either. So. Yeah.
If you have the possibility to start off working less hours to kind of understand the way your schedule works, I totally think that's a great way to do it. Personally, I've been working at least 2 jobs since I started at Columbia my freshman year. While I was living in the dorms, I was working actually at the Hershey store when it used to exist, and I was working on campus. And since then, I've always had another job working on the weekends apart from my on-campus job, just because it's what I needed financially. But I have always designated myself that one day off you were talking about, because you need to get school stuff done, you need to live, and you need to take care of yourself. And also, yeah, talking to your bosses about flexibility for classwork and stuff. But just understand that maybe understand that you may have different needs than other students, and understanding that your friends are going to have different needs from you. So just make sure to balance out your schedules and to take care of yourself, even if you have to work.
Yeah. One more thing. I think that it's a lot of seniors that are leaving, so there will be a lot of jobs on campus. So if you can get those jobs, that is the best thing for you, for your life, actually, through your 4 years of college. So
It's really nice.
Get those.
And then on campus with many senior jobs, or at least for our office in student communications, I know we're only open Monday through Friday, so we have a lot of time for ourselves on the weekend and just taking care of ourselves. You know, in college, it's really hard. Take care of yourself mentally, financially, and just physically.
This next question I think should be relatively quick, because I believe Austin is the only one who's going to be able to answer it. It's about the transfer student experience. Can you talk a little bit about what the process was, about getting your credits transferred, and just generally about the experience overall coming in as a transfer student?
That was something new to learn. Obviously, I've only transferred that one time. And my whole family, I'm first generation, so no one in my family has gone to college before me. So that was an experience. First, you have to find the right department, wherever that may be at your school, to find out who you need to speak to, because you have to actually like sign papers and like formally withdraw yourself from the institution and say, I'm no longer going to attend here. And then you have to get those credits, official transcripts sent over to Columbia in addition to your actual application. And then after that, it's kind of smooth sailing. Then it's just like the first institution with signing up for classes and stuff like that. But you have to find the right people and the right department to make sure you filled out all the paperwork necessary for you to actually leave that school. So.
Thank you very much. So some folks have been asking, when you're not working and you're not studying, what do you folks do with your time?
I don't have a life, though. I don't have a life.
I'm dead. Well, I like to spend time with my friends. We'll usually like go see shows in the city or concerts. I end up at a lot of comedy shows, obviously, but that can't be like the only thing I do. So I try to like balance it with like going and exploring other places. I like to explore Chicago. Chicago's got a lot of really cool places that you should definitely try to explore. There's a ton of different neighborhoods that all have different like arts and culture and things going on, and it's really exciting. So keeping up with what's happening in the city and just going to that, I think that's how a lot of Columbia students like hang out really anyway because we're very artsy, so we like going to things that include different types of art anyways. But yeah, that's kind of what I end up doing.
Yeah, there's so many things to do every single day of the week, and a lot of my free time is actually spent going to art shows or different exhibitions that I know are opening up in the city, which is fun, but also directly kind of relates to my career. And also, I spend a lot of my free time creating work and illustrations that are for myself and just personal projects that are not necessarily for classes. So I find myself doing that, but I enjoy it, and it's a time for me to like get my own art time back because class projects are sometimes different than what you want to be doing personally.
For me, I'll just explore the city, go have fun on the town, go hang out with some friends.
On the town.
Sleep. I love
Yeah,
I will
that's
do
what it
this.
is. We sleep a lot.
And that's pretty much it, yeah.
I hang out with my friends usually on like Fridays. We have a D&D group, so that's pretty fun. I
Oh my
stumbled upon that, and it was awesome. I was like, you guys are now my best friends. But other than that, I sleep a lot.
I think it's also important to note that there's a lot of like Columbia students that do really cool things in the city, and I always find myself at like music students shows and things like that all over the place. So definitely like staying up to date on what's happening like with Columbia because they end up doing stuff on and off campus all the time. So there's always something to do.
One of the beautiful things about Columbia's campus too is its proximity to the lake. Whenever
yes,
it's
the
warm
summertime.
out, it's
Yes.
so beautiful by the lake. And even though it's like
Museums.
multiple miles, I like to walk down to Navy Pier and like back with friends. We'll go to the planetarium. Like all of it's within walking distance. Otherwise, CTA can get you anywhere. But when it's nice outside, I love to spend time by the lake.
I'm
my
a
God,
runner, so the lake path is like my favorite
Yeah.
place to run. Sunday, I actually participated in one of the city runs, the Shamrock Shuffle. Yeah, one of those crazy people in green running at like 8 o'clock in the morning. That was me.
Well,
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I'm done.
well, with me, my friends have to help me because I don't go out as much. But but when I do have time, I'm working on my body, like working out. I, write songs in the dance studio, but that's still work. But when I'm not doing that, I'll probably go to open mics or movies or hang out. I know that freshman year, I lost a lot of weight from going to each class, walking to each class. So
We were different.
yes, I lost a lot of weight. Like, oh my goodness. So I will definitely, if I could change it, I would definitely like go out and explore, get into these clubs, meet new people. It's all about connections at the end of the day. So yeah.
Very cool. We have a comment here from Brittany Rose who asked, what are some must-bring items to college?
Trash cans, if you're living in a dorm. No one ever has a trash
A
can.
vacuum. Freshman year, we didn't have a vacuum until I think March. So that was exciting. We borrowed our RAs like at least 4 times, and he was like, why do you keep taking my vacuum? Why do you not have one?
If you live in the Dwight, you need lighting.
Yes.
Oh my goodness,
There's
yes.
no lights whatsoever. It's very artsy. It's very like rustic. So there's literally no lighting inside of those rooms. So make sure to bring some.
If you're not from this part of the Midwest, bring good walking shoes because you are going to be walking all over the city. Make sure they're waterproof and
Yep.
get a nice heavy coat. Black.
For the winter.
No,
Yes.
no white coats in the city.
The city likes gray and black. We're very very dark colors.
Yeah.
And just keep warm.
Yeah, definitely warm clothes and nice boots for rain and snow.
Bring an umbrella too.
Always have an umbrella in your
I've got rained
backpack.
on so many times going to class, and then it's pretty common. But of course, a laptop if you can, it helps a lot.
And if you have, most people have a mobile device, but please bring it for directions.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a really
yeah.
great transit app. I still use it, and it tells you when all the trains are coming and what they connect to, and it's really nice. So definitely have something that you can access that on.
There's an option on Google Maps to click transit, and it tells you exactly how to get there by bus or train. So that's
Nice.
awesome.
Cool. So we've had a couple questions about either double majoring or selecting a major and minor. I know that does apply to a few folks on the panel. Dylan, if you want to kick us off, because I know you are currently majoring and minoring.
So for me personally, I just went in music business management, and I didn't pick a minor until sophomore year. And I met with my advisor and like, would you like to pick a minor? And I'm like, wow, I have options. And so I scrolled through the list and I'm like, narrowed down a couple things and I'm like, I think marketing would be the best thing for me. And so that was it. Why not do it? It's fun. You're paying for it. Get the best out of your education.
I have a minor, and I actually switched it. My freshman year, I added a television writing minor, but things were switching around, and I actually happened to graduate a year early, but I couldn't finish my TV minor, so I switched to management because I was actually able to finish it, and I'm doing it all this last semester. But I'm actually really glad that I switched because the TV minor was too similar to my comedy curriculum. And I had already taken a few television classes, so I kind of got what I needed out of it, and I just was like, I'm going to go and do the business side of it because I really feel, and I feel like you can also comment on that, is that having that business side to your very creative side is going to only help you because then you get to understand the business and you kind of make yourself a little bit more marketable, honestly.
It's all about applying it back to yourself. And I feel like with business, it just gives you that front. You're learning something in class, you're like, okay, applies to me. Here we go.
I think with picking a major, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, to just kind of keep open-minded, even if you come here with a specific intent and you're like, this is what I'm going to do for sure. Just keep an open mind. I came here when I transferred in specifically for theater, and then I took a course called Culture, Race, and Media that talked about deconstructing different forms of media and looking at the critical issues inside of them, which of course inspired me then to pursue cultural studies. So just keep an open mind. Columbia has so many programs and so many classes that you never know, what you might end up loving.
And you have a lot of room to be able to switch and not get held back for the most part. I mean, as long as you're communicating with your advisor, the way that they've set up our degrees makes it very flexible so that you can kind of switch between a few things and still manage to graduate on time and have enough credits. But as long as you're communicating with your advisor, obviously.
Yeah, don't do it too late.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I ended up switching my minor junior year, which sounds kind of crazy because you're like, how are you going to graduate on time? I declared my minor in creative advertising, which I quickly realized was a mistake. It was way too business-minded as far as I'm a very creative individual, so I was like, I can't sit through consumer behavior. Can't do it. So then I was like, oh, what can I do for a minor? What are my options? And my advisor, she was like, well, you already took so many science classes, why don't you do a biology minor? And I was like, Columbia offers a biology minor? What? Still, it's pretty cool. But still surprising. So I was like, yeah, that sounds amazing because then I could look into pharmaceutical advertising, which nobody wants to do. So I want to do it. And biology works for that. But yeah, I actually finished that minor last semester, so it only took me 2 semesters to complete an entire minor.
Rebecca, I'm actually going to have you kick this question off because your illustration friends keep giving you shout-outs here. What are student clubs and organizations like? Are you folks involved in any? And if so, what are they and what are they like?
All right. So like I said, I'm the president of the Illustration Student Org. We do a lot of work around campus with other student orgs and in the community, and our goal is really to kind of create an engagement from the classroom into an external setting, creating different workshops to share skills or facilitate critiques, go on field trips to explore the crazy, tremendous art scene that we have in Chicago. And I think that a lot of student orgs are able to facilitate opportunities like that for people that have different interests. And I know that there's just so many different kinds of student organizations that can pertain directly to a major. Like I know that there's student orgs for writing and poetry and PR and comedy and all of these things, but then there's also things like the Muggles Association and the Vegetarian Club and the Craft Club. So they're all things that students can engage in outside the classroom and kind of help spark your interest so you're not just school the whole time. Mm-hmm. I think that if you're involved in a student organization as a part of a leadership team, it is a lot of hard work and it's a lot of time. And I think that while it's another extra thing to add on to your plate, the benefits are very great because it's a lot of connections you can make. You really strengthen those leadership and networking skills, And working with your advisors and the community outside of Columbia really gives you an awesome network to work off of after you graduate, apart from the stuff you learn in the classroom.
Yeah, I've been a part of quite a few. I was in the improv club for a little bit, and I did the comedy collective one as well. And that was like my freshman year. And then my sophomore year, I actually was able to start an organization, and it was a late night show, and it was really fun. We lasted a year. We don't exist anymore, but I definitely know that like if there's something that you see that we don't have, but you think we should have, like you can start it, and you can start it super easy. You only need like 7 people or something like that, and they train you, and you get to like meet the Student Organizations Council, who are really great and supportive, and they give you lines of funding and ways, like strategies on how to get more people to join. And there's plenty of event spaces on campus that you can like hold meetings and shows and things like that. So it's really like, it's a really good opportunity, and you should definitely take advantage of it. But it definitely join a club, or at least like attend a meeting or a show or something, because they're all pretty great, and it's a great way to meet people and do stuff outside of class. Like if you want to like meet people and start making work that isn't necessarily class related, it's really nice to be able to do that like within like the educational setting still.
Honestly, the majority of my friend group I met freshman year during one of BSU's Black Student Union, one of their meetings, and we all been hanging out since. So there's a great opportunity to meet people, get involved, do community service. Just join a club if you can.
Alex Watson asks, how confident are you in finding a job in your field after finishing school?
It depends on the person. It depends on your work ethic. It depends on if you go to those auditions. I'm speaking from musical theater, you know. It depends on you. It depends on how much do you put in your craft. How much do you put into those rehearsals? How much do you go out there and show your face even though you get rejected? It depends on you. If you're doing all of that and above, I'm pretty sure you can get into a show or more. For me, I do musical theater and television. I've been featured on Empire, Chicago PD, Chicago Fire. So do it all. Do everything you can. Don't just stick to one. Oh, because I write, I'm just write. Do it all. I dance, sing, and act. So, and I also choreograph. I teach dance classes. So do everything in your what should I say?
Your power.
yeah. So it depends on the person. It depends. If you're lazy and laxy-daisy, I don't know. You just have to go out, dive into the water.
And even if you are very talented at your craft and you work in the classroom and you turn in your homework and you draw at your desk or sing in your room, if you're not putting yourself out there, making these connections in the city, meeting these people, it's going to be very difficult to make those connections. And it's also important to know that you don't have to wait until you get that degree to start making your moves. We have so many opportunities right now. And you may not get that dream job right away. It's going to take steps, and it's going to take experience. Nobody's going to hand it to you, but if you're working and if you're taking all those opportunities and all these different avenues, your chances are going to be a lot higher.
I really agree with that. I mean, Columbia is not going to hold your hand and hand you a job when you graduate. They provide all these resources, and they lay them out in front of you, and it is your job to be driven and passionate enough to take those resources and do something with them. And if you're doing that, like everyone's been saying, you're going to get a job eventually. But, I mean, it's not like this, all of these industries, you're not going to be granted your dream job at 21 when you graduate. Like, you're going to be working really hard for a long time, but you're passionate about it, so it doesn't matter. And like, I have plans to like work here in Chicago and try to do as much as I can creatively and save some money, and then move to LA where I can really start my writing career at some point. But like, it's going to take some steps to get there, and while I'm here in the city, I want to soak up everything that I can, and a lot of it won't necessarily be paid, but it'll still be a lot of experience.
Right, and you're building your resume in college. You don't want to graduate and have no experience in anything. So all those 4 years you should dedicate into finding yourself and going out there. So build your resume, do everything. Because when you graduate, it's like you're on your own. No more mommy, papa, whatever. You're on your own, you're living on your own, and you have to provide for yourself. So if you want the finer things in life, you have to, work hard for it. That's what I do.
Columbia offers like so many resources to help you find jobs, like specifically the Portfolio Center. It's one of
Yes.
Columbia's like greatest things is you can just make an appointment, go in, and they tell you like, hey, your portfolio needs this, you should probably do this, like, oh, you should make a website depending on your major, and they're very helpful.
Exactly, like just take advantage, reach out, networking. Many of our teachers are in the field and in the industries we want.
Yeah.
So just going outside and having a conversation with our teachers and just expressing your interest in where you want to go, they could easily help you find a job in your profession. And then, as you said, the Portfolio Center, they're great. Help you with your portfolio, your resume, anything else you can need help with.
I have a teacher who regularly emails us like internships and different careers around the city. So it's really good to make friends with your professors and get to know them so that way they recommend you for things.
And your professors are like doing stuff now. Like
Yeah.
my digital
Yes.
media strategies professor, I love him. I hope he's watching. He's probably not. He's busy. He's the digital media strategist for SNL currently, and like he runs like the SNL like museum thing here. And like I'm low key trying to slide in and see if he can get me a job. But like they have connections in the field, so they can at least like tell you, like point you in the right direction, and be like, you should go like look at this, you know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the best thing about Columbia because they have teachers that's still in the field. They have teachers that's still going out there doing shows or writing a book, or they have teachers that's still irrelevant. They're not just sitting, they're doing, grinding too, and they're trying to teach you how to do the same thing. So
I'm going to change the tone of this just a little bit. Some folks are asking about any struggles you may have had as you transitioned into life at Columbia when you first started here, and how you overcame that.
One of my main struggles was learning to live with other people. My roommate freshman year did not like me at all, so it was really hard to like live in the same space as someone who just did not want to be around me. And it took a lot for me to just like realize like, hey, not everyone's gonna like you. Get over it. You'll live with someone new at some point. But if you have like that issue where you aren't friends with your roommate and they kind of hate you, just get through it. Talk to your RA about it. They will help you.
Yeah.
They are very good about that.
I think for me, especially freshman year, it was a lot of like learning how to take care of myself mentally and physically. I did not, I usually had my parents or I had a sports team at home where I was able to like constantly be keeping myself like physically fit and like mentally stable. But coming here and, like learning that like mental health is important, you need to take care of it, you need to give yourself time for that. You need to talk to somebody if you need to. That's really important. Reaching out for help is also really important. And then going to the gym or doing yoga or doing something physical to just keep yourself you don't have to be like a freaking Olympian,
Right.
but you need to feel good and be healthy in whatever that means to you. That's gonna help you body, mind, spirit. It's gonna help you in your career. It's gonna help you in your friendships. So figuring that out right off the bat is gonna help you a lot.
Yeah, on that kind of similar note about taking care of yourself, I feel like sometimes we struggle with balancing out our priorities. What do I do more? Do I work on this homework assignment? Do I pick up an extra shift at work because I need to make my next deposit on my tuition? Or do I hang out with my friends? Or do I stay home and take care of myself? So I know something that I struggled with and a lot of students in all colleges struggle with is dealing with mental health. Dealing with depression, anxiety, especially when you're balancing all these things and trying to be successful and proud of yourself. So I think keeping that in check and making that a priority too. And also, if you can, take advantage. We have the Counseling Service Center here. They have awesome resources on and off campus for you. I know I've been taking sessions and they've really helped me out, and I encourage all students to reach out if they need it, because that'll help you succeed in all the other areas of your life. And also, the gym is sweet. Because studying it out. Thank you, Mark. You're the best.
my struggle was always hungry. I love to eat. Being stressed with classes and everything, you will find yourself going to snacking consistently. Have all these restaurants, so I would say money management is the key, because there's so many restaurants, so much sightseeing. I would say money management is the number one with all of the rest of the things that they said. So that's why I stay in the gym consistently, because I'm always I'm always eating. But yeah, money management and taking care of your body, and just staying calm. Even though it's a lot, don't freak out, because there's nothing that you cannot do. Just take it day by day. That's it.
Yeah, as we kind of touched on top of money management, time management, as we talked about before, I think a big thing for myself in coming here, transferring, and then also changing my degree, I really had to keep an eye on my advising guide, which is a great resource. It tells you exactly what you need to take to fill all of those degree requirements, so that I knew exactly like where I needed to, be shifting my focus and making sure that I was on track for graduation.
Right.
And then another thing Deborah spoke on, just managing your health, mental health. I was very stressed out freshman year, just being in a new climate, new city, with new people, meeting new people, and being in such an environment where I was stressed out. And for me, instead of stress eating, I just would not eat. And so I lost weight. And so I had to go to the gym, work out, eat more, go out, do all these things, and like hopefully, and physically, like now I'm better.
And don't get like homesick. Don't get depressed. If you find yourself getting depressed because you're homesick, I will recommend you to go talk to friends, go talk to teachers, advisors. Don't sit and stress your life or, waste time. Go out with friends, just and observe the air. Don't be depressed, because I know a lot of people go through things in their life, especially during college, ups and downs. Just take a breather and go out and talk to someone. Talk to someone. Don't keep it in.
Honestly.
Talk to someone, okay? Yeah.
And then for me, even going out by myself, you never know who you would run into.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I would go to a lot of events, a lot of open mics, art galleries, and I just consistently keep running into the same people. So eventually I would speak, and ironically, they go to school with me. And then a friendship was formed right there. So just go out and have fun.
Right.
Don't limit yourself.
Yeah, leave room for fun.
Dia asks that she has the issue of parents feeling that she would not be safe at the college because it is located in Chicago. She's wondering if any of you have similar issues.
Yes.
Especially if you came from someplace else. Haley, you want to jump on this?
I came from a 2.5 square mile town in Michigan. It's basically nothing but houses. It's a factory town. My parents were like, I don't think you should move to Chicago. That's so dangerous. I regularly get phone calls. Are you still alive? Yes, Mom, I talked to you 2 hours ago. I am fine, I promise.
Oh my God.
My parents-
So
oh my God.
there are people all
Same
over.
way.
Be smart, though. Like, don't go wandering around through the train tunnels at 3 a.m. That's a bad idea. But, if you're walking to class, there are people all around. Walk with your friends. You'll be okay. And then also, as far as, parents, if you're concerned, your kids will be okay. They will. You raise
Anywhere
them right.
they go, there is going to be an issue anywhere. So I
Exactly.
live in Chicago, and my parents are still like that. So that's not. I would just say don't go out late. Always have someone with you. If you're going grocery shopping, if you're living on campus, do all of that during daytime. Don't do it at night.
Don't go at night.
Have someone with you. I mean, for parents, they have to, they have to let you fly either way. So even if you're going down the street, they have to let you fly. So you have to find your own way. So I mean, just don't go out late. That's the key thing in Chicago. Don't go out late unless you're with friends. So.
And for me, freshman year, my parents watched this special on CNN, so they were completely terrified of me coming here, and they still partly are, but the thing is, I'm perfectly fine. Intuition is key. If you think you're not going to be safe doing something, odds are you're probably not. So just use your brain. Don't be out too late. Just common sense is key.
It's so
And
common sense.
It's common.
It's a city. You guys are in a city.
Exactly.
Any
There's
city
people
that you're
all
in, it's going to be the same thing. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of things happening, and when you're in a city, you need to be at a heightened state of awareness, just in general, across the board. It has nothing to do with Chicago specifically. I don't want that to turn people away from going to certain neighborhoods because they have a bad reputation or something like that. You guys I have a whole freaking PowerPoint about this, but I won't go off. But I really do believe that in general, you just need to just do common sense. Don't wear your headphones and carry your MacBook out in your hand and expect you not to get
Don't
robbed.
take your MacBook out on the train.
Yeah, that.
I see people with that, and I'm like, please don't.
Don't do
Put
that.
it away. That's a bad
it's
idea.
It's just common sense. So And again, travel in groups, travel with buddies, that's always a
Yeah.
good idea. And there's plenty of people here that you can do that with. So.
Well, the good thing about downtown, though, is that you have a lot of people around you. And I travel a lot, especially on the train. So you will see like officers, police officers. You'll see security guards everywhere. So like throughout downtown. So you will be surrounded around college students from Robert Morris, Roosevelt. So we're all connected. We're all like very close. So it's not, strange.
And we partner with their security as well, so you can talk to their security guards if you need to, and we partner, so we take care of both of our students. At least that's what I've been told. And so I know that I could go and talk to a DePaul police officer if I see him or whatever, and they'll help me. So there's plenty of security in the area. And this is also the financial district anyway, and it's just a bunch of colleges.
People.
So this isn't even like remotely a dangerous area. So.
Yeah, you're not in a bad part of Chicago. This is like the more mal area.
Yeah.
This is not like.
And
Yeah.
if you don't have people to travel with or just to go to the grocery store with, just check in with your friends, share your location.
Oh yeah.
Call them out. It's
Yes.
so simple nowadays with technology.
Share your location.
Yeah, technology has helped if you are going to go alone, because sometimes I get out of a 9:30 class and I have to commute home 45 minutes away. Like sometimes that's just what you have to do. If you have your buddy system, that's great. But as you kind of grow, you do kind of become more in tune with your intuition. So just using your street smarts, and I sometimes even use an app that kind of helps you be safe. So there's a lot of apps like that, like SafeTrek. So just being aware of your surroundings, using your street smarts, and travel with buddies.
Oh, one more thing. I commute a lot, so I have headphones in 24, walking. Don't do that. If you have headphones, have one in, because it's still people. You don't know these people, so still be conscious of your surroundings. So, yeah.
For someone that is still undecided on which school to attend, why should they choose Columbia?
Oh, there's so many reasons. I think you should choose Columbia because it gives you the freedom to do what you want to do. And I know that's our logo, but I really do believe that if there's something that you want to accomplish, whether it's in school or out of school, Columbia is willing to be flexible enough to help you do that. So at least I know within like theater and stuff, when I was applying for schools as an acting major, I found out that I was only able to act in school productions while I was in that school. And I didn't really want that limitation. I wanted the opportunity to go and explore whatever city I was in or place that I was in. And Columbia allows that. I know for a fact that they let you do stuff outside of school and frankly encourage it. And that's only gonna help you in the long run because you're actually like gaining valuable in the field experience while you're like in the comfort of being in a school setting. And it's not just like, oh, I just did this at school. While that is impressive, you also get to be like, oh, and I also did this at this venue or this theater and like in Chicago, and it's professional. Like that's just gonna make you more well-rounded and it makes you feel more prepared coming out of college. I don't even think the transition from when I graduate in May is even going to be that hard because I've already been living in Chicago and doing stuff in Chicago and not just at school, so it's not even going to feel like much different.
Yeah, we've touched on like 3 really key points I think throughout this conversation, which is like location, expertise, and experience. So like you're in Chicago, there are plenty of job opportunities no matter your major or your field or what you want to do. The expertise of the professors being active working professionals, and then the hands-on experience that's provided through courses or through job opportunities on and off campus. So I think that that's really what sets Columbia apart from anybody else.
Very true.
Yeah.
I think going along with that experience aspect, Columbia is really great throughout all of its majors about immediately immersing you in your field, in your major, outside of the classroom and through classroom projects. I know that even for my major, when we create projects, they're not just for a portfolio. We actually submit to competitions and to actual campaigns, giving students like real job opportunities in the classroom, and just being in a space where you can go off and do a performance, do an open mic. That's all at your fingertips, and you don't have to wait to move to another major city to do that. You're on Columbia's campus, and you have those opportunities right here.
Yeah.
And here on the campus, there's so many opportunities. Just I know from going to master classes with Deborah, there's a master class almost every week or every other week. There's forums for the business and entrepreneurship department where they bring in professionals in the industry. Just last semester, I got to talk to somebody with Apple Music, and then tomorrow there's somebody, Southern Baptist, coming. And so it's just a lot of professionals I get to talk with and talk to and build connections with.
Yeah, if you're undecided, you can, for your first 2 semesters, you can always just take your general classes, right? Yeah?
You can do it wherever you want to
So
do.
you can, you really don't have to like dive into a major yet. If you already know, that's great what you want to do. But for your first 2 semesters, just take your general classes so you can still be up to date, and then take your major classes for those rest of the semesters. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see, what have we not touched on yet? I don't want to get too in the weeds with this because I know that this is a very complex question for all of you folks, but if any of you are able to speak broadly about paying for college and making it affordable for you, even if it's just speaking about working with a financial aid office or finding scholarships, about how you were able to sort of integrate yourself into the college financial aid system.
I can start off briefly. There's just a lot of opportunities, a lot of scholarships with schools and then outside of schools. I know personally for me, I've applied to scholarships both for Columbia and then just some random ones through either fraternities, clubs, communities, or just churches, and it makes college so much more affordable.
I applied to every single scholarship that my high school was offering from like my local area, and I think I was the only person that did that, and ended up bringing home most of them. So seriously, apply to outside scholarships, and depending on who you are, sometimes Columbia is even able to match them. So definitely like look into that. There's definitely ways to get more money, but absolutely applying to as many outside scholarships as possible, because there's so many of them. Some of them you just have to read a book, or you have asthma, or you're left-handed. Like, literally look these up because they actually exist, and you can get money from random places. And I was able to like pretty much pay for a lot of my freshman year. So
There's literally a scholarship for anything.
Another thing that I know can benefit some students, but maybe other students not so much, is FAFSA. And I recommend filling out FAFSA as soon as you can. I know now it opens like on Halloween, on October 31st. So every year my mom would call me and be like, on like the night before, and be like, are you at your computer? We're gonna fill out FAFSA right now. Because as the time goes on, their funds like run out. So even if you don't think you're gonna get anything, or if you know that you do need some extra funds from the government or some loans, I'd say apply. It's not gonna hurt. And it's just a resource that everybody has.
Yeah. Columbia give out a lot of scholarships based off grades, but like they said, also research and fill out those scholarships. The one thing I had to learn is that make sure your balance is paid off before you have to register for the next semester, because they will not let you register, especially if you're a senior and you have to get those classes. I would definitely say make sure that balance is paid, because those classes fill up quickly. So, and make sure you talk to those. Go to student financial aid. Make sure you go up there consistently. Don't go up there one time and think, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine. Go up there consistently so they can see like, oh, she's really serious. She wants her education. So that's what I always have to do. And don't wait till the last minute. Do those now, right
also,
now.
as you get older, like as you go through Columbia, more scholarships open up to you through Columbia. So keep an eye out for those, because once you get a certain amount of credit hours, another scholarship will open up for you.
Exactly.
So definitely keep an eye on that, because there's money. You just need to look for it.
Research.
And yeah, there's some just general scholarships with Columbia, and then there's some specific for your majors. So just look, Columbia has a lot of great resources.
There's like a whole tab on your Oasis for scholarships, and it will say like, oh, if you're a comedy writing performance major, if you're, I don't know, music theater, everything, they have those listed specifically for you guys to apply. All you have to do is click on it and fill out the form. It's really easy.
They're out there. You just have to really look for them. And talk to your teachers, because your teachers might know something that Columbia might not know, you know, because they're out there, they're doing in shows and stuff, and they might have a scholarship for a musical theater major or a music business. What are you?
Cultural studies.
Yeah, cultural studies. So make sure you talk to your teachers, your advisors, and go up to the student financial aid consistently. So, yeah.
All right, so I think we only have time for one more question, and I'm hoping that this is something that everybody will be able to speak to a little bit. What is one thing you wish you had known before you started school at Columbia?
That's a great question.
Making you think. I don't know.
Wish I would've known.
Ooh, I stumped them, folks.
What would I wish?
Let me see.
Oh man.
This is so
This is
hard.
honestly-
Oh my gosh. I feel like I get this question every day though.
Wish I would've known.
Oh wow. I really stumped the panel, folks.
About Columbia.
I wish I would have known that portfolio and career readiness does not have to start junior and senior year when you start taking the advanced portfolio level classes. Your portfolio level classes can start your freshman year, even if some projects may seem mundane or not in your immediate interest, because all the experience and all the tools that you gain are ultimately going to help you. So you might as well put in all your effort in, because you might make something or produce something or write something your sophomore year that you can revisit your senior year and just really beef up and make into a portfolio ready piece. So just knowing that opportunities and real professional work can start very quickly, and you don't need to wait until you take the class that's called like portfolio or like practicum to make that kind of work happen.
Yeah.
I wish that I had known how fast this was gonna go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really, and for me it was even shorter because I'm graduating in 3 years, so I really I feel like I've done a lot in those 3 years, and I feel like I was very involved, and I'm proud of that. But sometimes I wish I was doing more, or that I had done this earlier, or I had more time. So definitely just like not taking it for granted your freshman year, and getting involved and having fun and all of that stuff. But yeah, definitely could understand that the years fly by here, and it's kind of sad.
Going off of what you said, something I wish I would have known, that I was going into Columbia, I was in such a rush to graduate. I was too trying to graduate in 3 years. And then just slowing down and realizing that what's the rush? Take your time, enjoy yourself, go out, do things, have fun. Experience Chicago, because we're only going to be young once. The workforce will always be here. Have time, build up your brand, do things for you personally right now.
It's a hard question.
It's a very hard question.
It is.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add? Any final thoughts? Don't feel pressured. All right, so that concludes this admissions panel. I want to thank everybody who brought in all these wonderful questions and comments throughout the evening. And thank you to our wonderful panelists and our ASL translator, the real MVP. We will see you next month on April 23rd.